continuing with the speed run here, and we do get the opportunity to play black in this situation. And we get e4. Like I said, e5 is how we will respond to e4. And the King's Gambit, it's funny that this was suggested in the last video on how to defend the King's Gambit. I'm going to try to show. So, for starters, we have a decision here. Do we take the pawn, or do we play something like bishop to c5 and ignore the gambit? I feel as though it is best to take in this situation. And after knight to f3, we can actually go into the Fischer defense. Now, immediately d4 is played. Obviously, the bishop is attacking f4. If he was to play bishop to c4, we can actually play h6. But because he's attacking the pawn, we'll have to play g5. And after the aggressive h4, we'll go ahead and push g4. And this is all theory so far. We'll have a couple of options after the knight moves. Those options will include bishop h6 or queen f6, which is good. I think queen f6 has to be the idea here. Notice the bishop is eyeing down f4. The queen is eyeing down g4, but the bishop is defending that pawn, so we're not worried about that pawn. Gonna have to go into a think here. Maybe h6. Maybe h6 to push the knight away. I mean, the knight's trapped right now. That's one thing that we should definitely know, is the knight is trapped. And if bishop takes, pawn takes, bishop takes again, bishop takes again, and then, maybe it's best to play queen f6, but then push, pawn takes, queen takes. It's a tricky position here. Queen f6 is going to be the move we play here. The idea is to protect f4, develop another piece. It's not the ideal game. It's not the ideal game in the sense that we haven't developed the normal way. I want you guys to notice that this is a very dangerous attack. I think the best response here is probably knight h6. I definitely have to play this slowly. I'm very impressed with my opponent so far. I mean, he's just kind of playing, he's kind of just playing basic opening theory. And then he's going to go try to attack like this. This is getting kind of scary. This is getting kind of scary. How do I even defend this position? This is bad. It's not great. That's for push. Bishop to e6 maybe. The issue is the rook is coming and it's attacking our knight. This is a scary position for sure. Okay, let's try to just force a trade, and then maybe we can get a castle in. I like this idea a little bit better than any of the alternatives. f4 is gonna fall. Okay. Maybe I push here. Castling could work as well, but maybe I push, and then after pawn takes, push. My other option would be just to castle short, and after rook takes, maybe just move the queen over to g6. Not a lot of space for the queen. It does look very trappable in this position, but does pushing make the most sense? Because if he takes with the knight, then just pawn takes back. Maybe pushing does make the most sense. We'll see what's played here. Notice if pawn takes and pawn takes back, the rook comes in. So let's go ahead and push this pawn forward. And I do like the idea of basically getting the rook out of the way. So if you notice in this position, the rook was eyeing down the F file, and it was looking very dangerous. But now the rook is blocked by its own pawn. So we actually do find a way to stop the rook from attacking here. And I mean, this is a scary position, but we actually will probably castle short. It's the only way to really fully develop in this position. Castle short. I mean, bishop h3 it's a nice diagonal here in the light squares. He goes ahead and pushes here, and after pawn takes, I think we definitely take with the pawn, and then after pawn takes back, you can't necessarily take with the queen because the rook moves over and we lose the piece. So maybe take and then queen f5. We have to find the right square to put the queen. We can't take back because we'll lose the piece on the spot. Queen f5 is probably the most active square. And then if the bishop goes to d3, well, what if the bishop goes to d3? If d3, then we can't even go here. So maybe queen g6 makes sense. Queen g6 looking to eventually go to h5, and I think we'll get away with castling here, and we'll probably be safe. It's taken pretty much every piece of just chess knowledge in general to survive this position. He's attacking this pawn. I wonder if I could play something like this, and then push, and then bishop. Create some sort of... Okay, maybe the issue is that I'm covered in this situation. Let's play... Okay, fine. Fine, he can take the pawn. He can take the pawn if he'd like. And then knight to f5. And notice my queen side hasn't even developed yet, which is wild. But I'm immediately threatening h4, and I'm threatening the bishop. And if he moves the bishop out of the way, I have h6. And a fork on the rook and queen and bishop. Interesting. Okay, this guy is honestly just too good. Okay. What if bishop takes, and if bishop takes back, then discovery, except bishop just takes there. Okay. Just take the knight. Or just try to push the knight away. And notice the bishop is still hanging. And if bishop takes here, then bishop takes back. And I think that we've actually managed to turn this into an advantage for us. That's what I'll say. He knows this opening, and it's fun to play against, honestly. You don't see it as much at this level. Okay. So... Oh man, he doesn't stop though. He really doesn't stop. If I take with the knight, he immediately has a king. He's a king check. So now his threat is that he can come back. So knight takes looks solid, except it's not because he can just come and check me this way. And now the queen is hanging, and there's just no way to prevent that. So another really good move. Another really good move by my opponent. Probably best just to play king h8. I have to think that this is maybe the last counter. Okay, he's not done yet. He's still coming at me. Oh my gosh, this guy's insane. Take, knight takes, and then queen check. Or queen check first. I think I found the tactic though. Queen check, and if he goes here, then check, and then I'll at least win this pawn back, and now we have the fork. At some point, we had to find a tactic. If he played king to e2, we actually had mate on the spot. That's a fascinating little play. Yeah, that was a sick game. That was a phenomenal game.